goes kind of with the theme this evening. And you remember that Lost Spirits isn't overproof, right? So,
Yeah.
Will that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
See what I mean? It's yeah.
Purple.
It's been.
There's a little bit of plum
been
from last
dyed.
time. This is purple.
It has been dyed. So actually, I'm just going to pour her a little of the Lost Spirits. So Lost Spirits is a rum distillery out of California, and oddly enough, a friend of ours, a close friend of ours in Champaign,
Right.
Illinois, was the one that put us onto it. Apparently, they were pouring this at one of her work functions, and
She fell in love with it and then couldn't find it. So.
and she didn't know the name of it either.
Oh, right.
She
right.
could sort of maybe describe the bottle.
Yeah, it had blue on it and it was sort of frilly script.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And from that description, I was able to find out which rum it was. And it is, in fact, Lost Spirits Navy-style rum. Oak matured, nifty stuff. If you have a chance to listen to like a podcast or anything that talks about the distillery, it sounds a little bit like
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka was a rum distiller.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do weird sorts of things. Last we knew, they had not quite figured out how to get the drones to deliver the yeast to the fermentation tanks. But other than that, almost everything was largely automated. So, if you like your rum by AI, there you go. You could have some Lost Spirits rum. The reason I'm not pouring any for me...
It's because you have another one.
I have another drink here. I was playing with cocktails, trying to figure out if I could make something work this evening. And so that's what is in this glass, although a bit watered down at this point. But I should finish that before having other things. Yep. All right. So salute.
Salute.
To fall.
To fall.
To fall. It is fall. It is officially fall. So that's a good thing. That doesn't mean you can't still drink summer drinks. Because let me tell you, today was freaking humid and the air was dead.
It was still.
It was
just still.
Yeah. So dead air. Hopefully that's not the theme for this evening's podcast. Is not dead air.
No.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
But what we are going to do this evening, because I didn't tell you what I was going to do
right, because I stopped it. I'm sorry.
Is so usually in sometime in late October, Lovecraft Cocktails throws a Halloween-themed tiki party, the Haunted Tiki Party. And so starting about now, late September, would be where I start futzing around with various drinks and cocktails and try and figure out what the heck I'm going to serve at the Haunted Tiki Party. So that's what we're going to do this evening. We are going to give you a glimpse into the thought processes that result in a menu of tiki drinks for my Haunted Tiki parties. And there may or may not, we don't know, possibly be some sort of Zoom tiki party, but we're not sure. So
there is.
There is? Okay. Well, so,
I sent out the teaser to the small invite.
All right. So apparently that'll happen. And we're gonna play around a little bit here. Now, one of the keys to successful Halloween cocktails is made a little harder for tiki, because often the thing that is Halloweenish about a drink is the appearance of the drink. And it's really easy to do something in a glass like this, which is crystal clear. So you can see in the glass, see, crystal clear. And get tiki effect, or get haunted effects, like, I don't know, just a blood red drizzle down the inside of the glass or something along those lines, just to do the haunted thing. However, it's much harder if what you're using is a tiki mug that's essentially black, because you can't see the alcohol that's in it. That's not going to stop me from using these mugs, because really cool friends of ours made homemade pottery for us that is a set of 4 custom tiki mugs for Lovecraft cocktails. So there's 1. There's 2. Yeah. Number 3 is here. 3 is there. And number 4 is here. So we will be making some cocktails and putting them in some of these mugs this evening. But that's not going to stop me from also playing around with some colors and that sort of thing with the cocktails this evening. Being that this is Lovecraft Cocktails and Lovecraft Cocktails Haunted Tiki, generally the drinks have something to do with Lovecraftian mythos or something along those lines. Speaking of which, I should point out, yes, I am in fact wearing a spiffy new apron, and it has a whole bunch of pins on it, some of which are Lovecraftian themed. So there's a Miskatonic University pin here, there's a sort of stylized Cthulhu here, our home pin, there's a Necronomicon pin here, and then a variety of other assorted pins, including a Cobra Fang pin that my wife found me online somewhere, which is just kind of awesome. So, yeah, so great place to store pins, because I'm collecting all sorts of cocktail-related or Lovecraft-related pins, and I need a way of displaying them, because the hat's running out of room. I mean, you can see the hat is running out of the room. So, yeah, gotta come up with something else. So I thought the apron would work, and that way it also, will keep cocktails off of some of the nicer shirts I have, like this spiffy Miami Dolphins Tiki shirt, which is pretty cool. And the reason I'm wearing that this evening is because Miami won their first game of the year this week. So congratulations, Miami. What did I learn this week? I learned Miami might actually have a win this year and won't go 0 and whatever. However many games this season will last. I'm not sure we're going to last a full 16. So
Colleen says the mugs are really cool. And we have, in addition to David, we have a Christine.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yay, Christine. All right, so what are we going to do? Well, I thought for sure that somewhere in all of the liquor that I have, that there was a bottle, probably dating back to the 1980s or 90s, of Midori melon liqueur. And so I started researching what can I do with Midori melon liqueur that isn't going to be utterly nasty, and or that I can mix into some sort of Lovecraftian Cthulhu-esque theme. And so I came up with one. I said, okay, well, that's pretty simple, and let's see what it tastes like. And then poured through all of my liquor cabinets and realized I don't have any Midori. So thank you to B&A Entertainment and Hospitality Services. Hello, Brooke. Hello, Andrea. For providing me with some Midori. And if the drinks come out, then I may have to go purchase some Midori in order to do this for the tiki party. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. So this is going to be an unusual build, actually, because we do have to muddle some. And so I'm actually going to use a metal shaker tin as the starting base. Remember all the conversation about, well, you always start with a small and you put the top on. Well, my mixing tins that I use are plastic, and I don't really want to be muddling down into the bottom of these because I'll break through the bottom of the plastic. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it in the metal tin. So it starts off by having 3 lime wedges and muddling those lime wedges. And what we're going to do is just cut some limes here. So I've got a nice little lime. This lime is pretty small. So I'm actually going to use a full half the lime because these lime wedges are they're really dinky. I don't know why my pinkies are pinkies. Okay, so 4 little lime wedges are going to go in there. If you've got a bigger lime, just use 3. So we're going to take a muddler, and in this case, I've just got it's a metal muddler with a plastic tip on it. It's a little ridge down at the bottom, but it's really not going to affect anything too much. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to muddle this around a little bit. Get the juices out of the limes. We don't want to do this too much because we don't want the bitterness of the pith to be coming through. So we're going to do that a little bit. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. All right.
Brooke wants to know what's on fire.
that would be the usual thing that is on fire. We have incense burning, thus wafting through and giving us a tiki-esque atmosphere. Although you can't, I don't know, oh, I guess you can see a little wisp of smoke coming up. What if I do this? Can you see that? Maybe, maybe not. There we go. There's some smoke coming up that you can see. All right, so we've got that. There is our limes. Now, we want to add sweet to this. I'm not going to add sweet to this because I'm adding Midori to this, which has got the sweet covered. So here is a bottle of Midori, and we need...
It's actually B&A Industries.
B&A Industries. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, so we need 1.5 ounces of this. So let's get these guys. 1.5 ounces. Midori. That's a lot of Midori. So Midori is kind of infamous for late 80s, 90s, really bad, overly sweet cocktails, and it is this vibrant green color, which, you know, with a little effervescence or something can be really pretty. You can even do something kind of Christmassy with it, which is really strange because it's a honeydew melon flavor, and so, you know, Christmas with honeydews, it's just a little weird. But it can also, if you add just a little tinge of something darker to it, you get a kind of deeper, murkier green, which kind of works sometimes for the tiki cocktails around Christmas. Okay, so what else are we putting in here? Well, wow, that looks completely disgusting because I've got bits of floating lime in there. Oh, man. Oh. All right, well, we're going to be even more disgusting about this because you would never suspect, but we are going to mix Midori with absinthe. Yeah. Green liquor on green liquor. It's gonna be weird. I think there's a full ounce actually in here of this. Am I right? Yeah, full ounce of absinthe. Now this is going to knock us on our socks because we're using Mount Defiance. Mount Defiance is 140 proof, so it will counter the effects of the overly sweet Midori. Not a problem there. The Mount Defiance is also not a bright, vibrant green absinthe, unlike some. It has a greenish cast to it, but it's already kind of a murky green, so we're going to get that coloration that we're looking for from this cocktail. So we've got lime, we've got absinthe, we've got Midori. What else do we need? We don't. That's it. That's all that goes in there, plus some ice.
Really?
Yeah, did you hear that? Did you hear the wife go, really? Kind of skeptical. Really? Are you sure that's what we want to do?
I have my mic again, and I think it might be working better now.
All right. So we're going to toss this in here, just like that. There is another ingredient, but it comes later. It comes once we put this into a glass. Right. So that goes there, and then we're going to shake. So the plastic here is not quite clear plastic, but I think you'll get a hint of the color as I do this. Yeah, it's going to be kind of gruesome. All right. Just, it's gruesome. Okay, so that's kind of the coloration that we wanted. We were aiming for with this guy. So this is going to go in a tiki mug. We're going to use one of these guys.
New Tiki Mugs by Becca.
Tiki Mugs by Becca. So I am going to open pour this to start with. So we do want some of the lime chunks in there. We're going to do that. And then we are going to top this with just a hint, a wee hint of the ginger beer. In goes the ginger beer. There's that. Stick a bar spoon in there. Give this a little...
That's a weird combination of stuff.
It is a completely weird combination of stuff. And then I'm going to toss some mint in there. And here's another interesting feature of the Haunted Tiki parties. I actually kind of prefer for the Haunted Tiki parties to get mint that's maybe seen a little better day or been that's a little more on the woody side, like these guys. I'm not sure if you can tell, but there's some brown spots on them. They're still pretty fragrant. They're right from our garden. Smack those around, and here you've got like some swamp weeds coming out of your cocktail there. And we're going to stick a coil of lime peel. So got a pick of the lime peel there.
It's a Dizzy Diva pick.
It's a Dizzy Diva pick. This can go over here. We're going to stick a straw in that. I'm going to give this a taste test. Wow, that's kind of cool because the pulp that was broken up from the muddler actually is permeating through the glass. And so as I put some in the glass here, I can see just, it looks like swamp water. It does. Oh, she's going to hate this. Wow, because that's so absinthe.
That's really weird.
Win.
There's definitely absinthe.
Well, yeah.
There's ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that, you can't tell what the sweet is. That's the Midori.
I think because I'm using the Mount Defiance, that I might want to adjust the proportions a little bit, because I think the absinthe is just like, bam. It does not taste like 140 proof alcohol in that glass.
No, it does not.
Now, if you don't like the taste of anise, you would hate this drink. But actually, I mean, look, this is just kind of, look at that. Look, it's just kind of awesome. And there are tiki mugs, custom made for us.
Yeah.
All right, I can't tell if you can see this or not. You probably can't. But there's just like some sediment in the liquid from the lime that just makes this visually kind of what you want for one of these Haunted Tiki party drinks. So I think I have to play with the proportions a little bit. I may want to break this up a little bit. I think it needs a little something else.
David was afraid to use the mint without spanking it, but Christine assured him that you spanked it.
Oh, of course. It was bad mint. So it needed to be spanked. You could see it was bad mint. It wilted, had some brown spots. Bad mint. Needed to be spanked. So there you go. Now, the other thing that this cocktail needs is a name change. Because this cocktail is known as the Green Lantern, and I refuse to serve anything that has anything in common with that really, really bad Ryan Reynolds movie. So it was named in honor of that movie. So yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to make some changes to this. Maybe a hint of orgeat to change the mouthfeel of this a little bit would be good. I think if I put it in now, I'm not going to get a good solution with it. But you know, what the heck? I can do that right now. Here's some orgeat. And I mean, if you're talking swamp water, here we go. This will give that nice, murky, brownish. I could just float it on top, maybe?
Yes, Brooke. Spanking the mint is the drinking game.
Yes. Was that every time I spank mint, she has to take a drink?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's fair to us, because we are drinking, essentially. So I'm just pour this over the bar spoon. Yeah, there's no way this is floating on top, because, you know, my orgeat is so much thicker than anything that's in this cocktail. So I don't know why I'm actually trying to pour this over the bar spoon, because that ain't going to happen. So do this. For those of you that are not fans of ginger, I got to tell you, the ginger beer in here does not really come through. There's a hint of ginger.
There's a hint of ginger, but that's it.
Yeah. could also change this completely up and make this a highball and have a lot more ginger beer with it. And for those of you that like ginger beer, that would be perfect. You make the ginger beer the predominant player in the drink. So let's give this a try. We will, again, not particularly well mixed because I added the orgeat later. Completely changes the coloration. So it's
more of a kind of test tube yellow-green.
Yeah.
Chernobyl radioactive color.
Right. I don't know. Huh. Well. So it is nice to know that when dealing with Mountain Defiance 140 proof absinthe, that my homemade orgeat says, bring it. Because the orgeat, I didn't put my orgeat in here.
That's really good.
And
that
came
completely
through.
changes it.
The orgeat really holds up well.
You can still definitely taste the absinthe, but
yep.
It's much more drinkable.
I think it needs more ginger beer now. But so there's the basic ingredients of that.
If you want it, take it over.
If you want it, I've still got this guy to
Okay.
get through, which is yet another riff on another cocktail that I found essentially online that has nothing to do with Halloween, but I'm going to drink it anyway. All right, so that's interesting. Star says swamp water. My guess is probably already a cocktail out there called swamp water, but I'm sure we can come up with something. Any of you that happen to be Lovecraftian scholars out there could certainly come up with the name of a swamp that is mentioned in any one of his stories, because I'm sure that he names swamps in many of his stories. So if we do that, then we could name it after said swamp, and that would be completely workable.
We have a Dominic.
We have Dom. Oh, excellent!
Yeah,
Cool.
Chicago
calling in. Excellent. All right. So, hey, Dom, we're doing playing around with drinks that might go on a Halloween menu. So, the next up is nothing that playful. So, next up is a tribute to what I think would be probably the best place on earth to actually spend Halloween if you wanted to spend Halloween away from home. Yeah, I think Halloween in the French Quarter would just be awesome. We like New Orleans. We like New Orleans a lot. Shout out to Matt and Gabby. But yeah, we're never going to live in New Orleans. Never going to happen. We can't handle the weather down there. But we love New Orleans. We love haunted ghost tours of the French Quarter. And so New Orleans is particularly known for a cocktail. I mean, they're known for cocktails in general. They're known for a lot of cocktails. But probably the cocktail that says New Orleans more than any other cocktail is the Sazerac. And I was discussing with Brooke the other day, in fact, the concept of doing a Sazerac or something akin to a Sazerac, but not using the absinthe. So you may or may not know that a Sazerac uses an absinthe rinse. So basically a small amount of absinthe is going to go in your serving glass, and you're going to swirl that around to coat the inside of the glass, and then you're going to toss out the remainder of the absinthe that was in the glass. Well, we have come into possession of a similarly powerful beverage that is not absinthe, but we're going to give that a try. And because we're doing Haunted Tiki, we're going to go in a rum direction, whereas the Sazerac is, originally the Sazerac is a cognac drink, and it has since been morphed into primarily a rye drink. And so what we're going to do this evening is a rum-based Sazerac that substitutes Fernette Branca for the absinthe. So we're going to be using some Fernette Branca for that. Now, there's all sorts of fussiness that happens with making a good Sazerac. First of all, you have to have a mixing pint. So here is our mixing pint. You may remember from the other night, we were talking about Angel's Envy and talking with Tony Burke from the Angel's Envy rep. And we got this cool swag, which is this Angel's Envy mixing pint. And so we will be using that this evening to make our take on the Sazerac. The next thing is you're going to be serving this in some glass. And this is the glass that is going to get the rinse with the Fernette Branca. But you want this glass to be ultra, ultra, ultra cold. So while you're mixing everything in here, there's going to be ice sitting in this glass. So that's what we're going to do. And if you really want it cold, you could stick it in the freezer, of course. But to get real cold, instead of using cubed ice, go ahead and use crushed ice. It will get the glass colder for you. So we're just going to set that right there while we're making the Sazerac here. All right, so what have we got? Well, what we're going to do is normally you would take a sugar cube and you would coat that sugar cube in Peychaud's bitters, maybe a few drops of water, and then take your muddler and muddle up the sugar cube. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is go and use my homemade spiced syrup because, well, yum, and it goes really well with rum. So I'm going to go with 3/4 of an ounce of this because I'm really tikifying this cocktail rather than making a true Sazerac. This is going to be a little on the sweeter side. And I'm going to need it to counteract the bitterness of the Fernette Branca. All right, so there's 3/4 of an ounce of a spiced simple syrup. So that is taking the place of the sugar cube. We are going to go, though, with the traditional Peychaud's bitters. Peychaud's bitters was crafted by Peychaud, who is a not druggist, pharmacist, druggist, who had a small shop in the French Quarter. And as it turns out, that shop is still there, and that shop is really cool because they sell collectible swords and bladed weapons and all sorts of other really cool stuff. So go to the French Quarter, visit the... there's only one that really specializes in selling old blades and that kind of weaponry, and so you can't miss it. And that's the old Peychaud's druggist shop, so that's just kind of cool. All right, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dashes Peychaud's bitters. And because I can't resist messing with a good thing, I'm going to go 1 dash of my spice bitters. When I say my spice bitters, I do in fact mean the spice bitters I made at home. How awesome is that? Because my wife made me, or got me, a bitters making kit, which is very, very cool. So there we go. The total of 5 dashes in here. So that would normally get muddled together. There's no reason to muddle it because we're not trying to break up the sugar cube at this point. But I will give it a little bit of a stir just to incorporate that. All right, and then we're going to add alcohol to this because it's not a cocktail without alcohol. Now, I could go any number of different ways with this, but what I'm going to do is grab something that... I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to save that for the last drink. Sazerac is kind of a classy drink, so let's use a classy rum. I'm going to go upscale. I'm going to use the Dorley's 12-year for this. Ooh. So we're going to up this game a little bit. The Dorley's 12-year is a really incredibly good Barbados rum. Once again, made by Foursquare Distillery. We had to go to Maryland to get a bottle of it, but we really love this rum. We first discovered it in an advent calendar a couple 4 or 5 years back at least, and have been hunting for it ever since. And we finally figured out that it was only available from Total Wine in Maryland. So yeah, we're going to go with... Well,
Total Wine everywhere but Virginia.
Yeah, pretty much. Every Total Wine that can sell distilled spirits, i.e. Total Wines that are not in Virginia, can sell Dorley's. So yay, cool. 2 ounces, right? Yeah, 2 ounces. .2 ounces, high quality, Dorley's 12-year. There we go. Dorley's goes back on there. We're going to throw some ice in here, we're going to stir this thing up, and then it's going to go in this glass.
Did you put the Fernette in there?
No, haven't put the Fernette in there.
Okay.
So the wife is asking, did I put Fernette in there? No, because the Fernette is going to go as a rinse in this glass, which is sitting here getting really cold. What am I doing? I'm getting ice, that's right. My brain is a little fuzzy. And that's before I've had alcohol. before it got a lot of alcohol. So we're going to go some ice in here. So probably it's a good thing to mention here, for a number of different authors and bartenders that I've talked to about icing your stirred drinks. And I see a lot of bartenders that would just fill their mixing pints way up with ice. Pretty much, once you've got ice that is covering the top of the waterline of your cocktail, there's no reason to add any more ice to that. The ice is sitting around on the top, just spinning around doing nothing. So, no good, no good. So, no bueno. So what we're going to do here is we are just going to swirl this around a little bit. Get this nice and cold. All right, so all you professional bartenders that are out there watching, yes, go ahead, critique all you want. My stirring technique is terrible because almost all of my drinks use either this guy or a shaker tin. So deal with it. I'll get there eventually. I haven't had any complaints on my stirred drinks. I like the way I make old fashions, so deal. But you want this really good and cold. See, you note I still have ice sitting above the water level in the cocktail, or the liquid level. Well, we've certainly gotten some dilution. That's pretty darn cold. That's what I want. Well, that's going to be lovely. All right, the ice goes away. Whoosh. Do not serve a Sazerac on ice. Bad, bad move. Fernette Branca. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Fernette Branca, count yourself lucky. No, just kidding. So this is an incredibly bitter aperitivo, digestif, which was all the rage in the 2000s. And it was quite common for bartenders to go into somebody else's bar and they would buy a shot of Fernette, or a bartender that particularly liked you would have you do a shot of Fernette with them. So there we go. I've thrown out the ice. I did a rinse of Fernette. Just get some Fernette in. It's just coating the glass, which is all you wanted to do, is to coat the glass. Anybody following Alton Brown and his wife Elizabeth, and their quarantine kitchen videos? Because here we go, guys. They still don't have it right. This is how you use a julep strainer. It goes in like this, inside the glass, and you strain out like such.
We did look it up. There are two schools of how to use it.
Yes, one of them is right, one of them is wrong. All right. Now, because I am using my homemade syrup, which is very thick and viscous, this is not going to be your traditional crystal clear Sazerac. Sazerac is traditionally garnished with a lemon peel that has been expressed over the cocktail. So we're going to do that. But I'm also tikifying this guy a little bit. So I'm going to set that down after I've expressed some of the oils from it. Then we're going to take the torch, because why not? So do the torchy thing. Right? Because what I want to do is a little bit of that scorched lemon scent. You can also do this over the glass. This. See that sparking that comes up off of there? Like that. Yep. And just dunk that right in there. Dunk that right in there, not on your bar mat, right in the glass. All right. That is the riff on the Sazerac that, I don't know what we're calling this. This is, a ghost time in the French Quarter or something along those lines. Traditionally served without a straw. So you just lift your glass and take a sip. And we're going to hope here.
I'm going to hand that right back to you, aren't I?
Maybe not.
That has essence of Sazerac.
It does.
I mean, it's not a Sazerac at all, but
it has
really
essence of Sazerac.
Essence of Sazerac. It's pretty good. I'm going to let you have it, because it's not my favorite. But
well, you're not a huge fan of the Sazerac.
I'm not a huge fan of Sazerac.
We call it the ghost of Sazerac's past. Like there we go. So, ta-da! I traditionally make Sazeracs as one of the cocktails that I do for Thanksgiving dinner. And we are, unfortunately, we are not having a gathering of the clans for Thanksgiving dinner this year because, well, COVID sucks. And as a consequence, I'm not going to be sitting around making Sazeracs for a bunch of people that I really enjoy hanging out with. So maybe putting this on the Tiki menu for the Haunted Tiki party is in order so that I get a chance to actually make some Sazeracs. So shout out to Holly, because she loves her Sazeracs, and she's the reason I'm making Sazeracs at her Thanksgiving parties. So here we go.
Yeah.
So there, Ghost of a Sazerac. There's not a hint of absinthe in that, but the Fernette Branca does come through, and yet it doesn't do what it usually does, which is cause Star to curl up in a little ball and whimper. He's like, what is this? Why are you making me drink this? Why? Why do people drink this? All right, so there's two. One still needs some work and needs a new name, because, again, I'm not going with Green Lantern as a name for that drink. The second also needs a name, but we're thinking Ghost of Sazerac or Pirates in the French Quarter. I don't know. We'll do something with it. So that's a nice, really boozy-forward cocktail for somebody that really wants that. Next up, what are we going to do next up? You would be surprised what you find when you are just hunting around online looking at different cocktails. The last couple of years for the Tiki Party, I have served a cocktail called the Cargo Cult. And the Cargo Cult has some guava juice in it, and it has some coconut cream and a few other ingredients. And Star really likes the Cargo Cult, and I think they're awesome as well. But I wanted to do something different, and so I started with Cargo Cult and looked at the Cargo Cult. I could do one. I don't want to mess with the coconut cream this evening, so I'm not going to do the Cargo Cult. What other things are on this site that link to the Cargo Cult? Because this is a really interesting site. So it's called Kindred Cocktails, and Kindred Cocktails, this is just cocktail after cocktail after cocktail, but one of the nice things they do is at the end of the cocktail, there's a list of what they consider related cocktails in some way. And so this is like, I don't know, it's kind of like Wikipedia for cocktail nerds. Or amateur cocktail nerds, because you can just follow links after follow links after follow links from cocktail to cocktail to cocktail to cocktail. And looking at the Cargo Cult led me to a cocktail that was invented in 2014 in a bar in New York City. And you'll totally excuse me, I do not have the bartender's name. I can look it up, but it was posted online at Kindred Cocktails, and it's called The Last Plane to Jakarta. And it is a remarkably intriguing cocktail because of the ingredients that are in it that make you go, why would you ever think to put these ingredients together in a cocktail? And so I whipped up one really quickly and put it in front of Star, and she went, yeah, I don't think I like, this is bizarre, I don't know. No, try again, no. And I took a sip and I went, wow. Oh, that's kind of intriguing. I kind of like that. I need to play with it some, but I'm going to play with it some and see what I can do with it. And so we are making what is not the last plane to Jakarta, but since we are thinking about using cocktails for Lovecraft Cocktails Tiki Party, Haunted Tiki Party, we are going to call this the last boat from R'lyeh. So R'lyeh would be the island where dead Cthulhu lies dreaming. It rises out of the South Pacific once every blah, blah, blah years, and people go screaming mad when they're on the island. Here's a shout out to the Lovecraftian mythos for Lovecraft Cocktails. and a riff off the last plane to Jakarta that we're going to call the last boat from Riley, because you don't want to be on any boat going to Riley or Relay. For all of those people that have ever read a book and looked at a word and sounded it out in your head and go, that must be how it's pronounced, and then you hear it pronounced by somebody else and you go, wow, that's completely different from my pronunciation. Yeah, if you're reading Lovecraft, don't get the pronunciation right. That's a bad thing. You don't want your pronunciation to be correct. Yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to do the last boat from Riley. So how
Brooke is reminding you that Fernette Branca does not work on ice cream.
So Brooke and I were sitting around the other day, and we had some vanilla ice cream and said, I wonder if the vanilla ice cream would be enough to counter the bitterness of the Fernette Branca, and would that be an interesting flavor combination? Because you get sort of that minty menthol flavor from the Fernette Branca. Our opinion is no. There are various ways you can pour it over the vanilla ice cream and try it. That didn't work. I think we did vanilla ice cream and then did a sip of Fernette Branca, and basically the Fernette Branca took the vanilla ice cream out back and beat the living daylights out of it is what happened there. You lost all vanilla ice cream flavor to it. The one that was possibly workable was to take a sip of the Fernette Branca and then a big healthy scoop of vanilla ice cream and shove it in your face. And that helped to counteract the bitterness of the Fernette. And so that was actually kind of enjoyable. Not nearly as enjoyable as creme de cacao poured over vanilla ice cream. We also did a little banana de Brazil poured over the ice cream, and that was quite tasty as well. Yeah, that's while Brooke and I were in one room, and Andrea and my wife were talking off in another room. We had ice cream. We didn't share. We didn't even let them know we were eating ice cream. So I will probably hear about that tonight from the wife. But in any case, let's do this. Let's do the Bizarro drink. So what are we going to do? Need to get my piece of paper out here. So we are going to start with 1 ounce of rum. And for this rum, it says to use a blended rum. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Pusser's 15-year. Because I want some of the age notes from that, and I just want the blending, because I mean, Pusser's is primarily a Demerara rum, but it's from a variety of different kinds of stills, and it also does include some rums from other places in the Caribbean. So it's a really nice sort of mixed rum from all sorts of different places. We need a full ounce of Pusser's 15-year rum. If you don't have Pusser's 15-year rum, and goodness, why would you? You can use regular Pusser's or any other rum that is blended from rums around the Caribbean. I have some Zaya. I moved the Zaya over there, and the Zaya is like 7 different countries in the Caribbean. I mean, there's a lot of different rums that blend rums from different countries around the Caribbean, so it's not that hard. Find a blend that you like. That is supposing you actually like this cocktail, because it's going to get weird. Trust me, this is going to get weird. So there's an ounce of rum, of blended rum in there. What's next? The next thing up is an ounce of sherry. Now the drink that this is based on, the last plane from Jakarta, specifies a type of sherry. I only have one sherry on the bar, and I use it for making fog cutters. That's creme sherry, which is poured over the top of the fog cutter. So I'm going to be using this, as opposed to the Oloroso sherry that the last plane to Jakarta calls for. Trust me, it strangely works. Well, Star doesn't think so, but I do. All right, so there's an ounce of cream sherry. Are you weirded out yet? Rum and cream sherry in equal proportions? It's going to get worse. All right, so to that, we got to go tropical. Here's some passion fruit syrup. So again, this is my blend of Torani passion fruit syrup, which is hyper sweet but has some of that same passion fruit flavor. and literally passion fruit concentrate. So this is very passion fruity, but also kind of sweet. We're only going to go with 1/4 ounce of that. Passion fruit has some tartness to it, and that's really what we're trying to get at with the passion fruit here. So there you go, 1/4 ounce passion fruit syrup. Little sweet, very tart. What's next? Because that's not weird enough. Yes, indeed. Now, I'm adding the Midori. The Midori is not in the original drink, but the original drink, when I served it to Star, had a visceral reaction. I added some Midori to it, and she went, wait, I might be able to drink it now. So we are going with the Midori. It adds some sweetness, adds that melon flavor to it. And oddly enough, Midori is so strongly flavored for a melon liqueur. It holds up to the other wacky flavors that are in this thing. So we are going to go with, what is it? It's 1/2 ounce, right? 1/2 ounce Midori. Not 1.5 ounces of Midori like the Green Lantern called for. Wow. All right, so 1/2 ounce. There we go. Cap on the Midori. So we don't end up losing the rest of the Midori. That would be such a shame. All right. So Midori, sherry, and a decent quality rum. But wait, we're not done yet. Now, for those of you that are Scotch fans, particularly those of you that like good Scotch and are religious about your good Scotch, you might want to plug your ears, because what we're going to do is we're going to add single malt Scotch to this cocktail. We are going to add a full teaspoon of a strong Islay Scotch. In this case, we're going to go with the Laphroaig 10. I'm not going to use anything more expensive because I'm making a cocktail with it, right? So we're not going to do anything other than that. So here's a teaspoon Laphroaig. You really want, okay, so there's a little more than a teaspoon. You really want the smoky notes of the Scotch. Don't use a blended Scotch. Don't use a Highland or something that doesn't have those smoky, peaty notes to it. You really want the smoke and the peat to come through. And the Laphroaig 10 seems to work really, really well. And it's just, I can smell the smoke coming off of this already. All right, next up, bitters. We're going to go 2 dashes of bitters, and the original cocktail specifies a type of bitters, and I happen to have those bitters on hand over here. They are not, yeah, they are that one, exactly. This is the mole bitters. So there's going to be a chocolate note, a sort of spicy chocolate note in this as well. Yeah, rum, sherry, Midori, Scotch, and spicy chocolate. 1 dash, 2 dashes. By the way, I really love this bitters from Bittermans. They do a wonderful job with this. Very good stuff. All right. So there you go. So that all goes in the glass, and then we are going to add some ice to it, and we're going to stir it. Because you need to mix this up. You need to make it color. I need practice on my stirring technique. So we're going to dump some ice in there. Ta-da. Reach in with my hand. You're not seeing this. No. I actually have a little more crushed ice here than I need, so it's interfering with my cubed ice. That's why I had to reach in with the hands. But deal with it, because it's my show. I can do what I want. All right. Okay, it's our show, so I can't actually do anything I want with it, because I do kind of have to make sure that I make nice mess with the wife, because she makes really pretty purple hair. Come show us your hair again, wife. Okay. Because I'm going to stand here and stir. So come here. Show us your hair. See, isn't that pretty? Look at that. Multiple tone hair that is purple, that matches her shirt. She's now going to put an orchid in her hair, would be my guess. because we have these wonderful blue-purple orchids on the ground that she's going to put in her hair. So this is just going to be poured over some crushed ice.
And you would keep it in there.
Nope, you can put it in your teeth. See, cuteness, ta-da! So one of the other things what else did we learn this week? We learned that our local restaurant supply store is open to the public. You don't actually have to have a retail license to shop there, especially for the whole COVID thing.
Right. It's a temporary thing.
It's a temporary thing, but hey, let's give a shout out for there's really nothing good about COVID. Here's one thing that's good: is we can shop at the restaurant depot. Why is that good? Because we can get 50 packs of cocktail orchids. Look at these things; they are so pretty. Look at this. Look, isn't that gorgeous? So I have cocktail orchids that I can put in cocktails, and that's in fact what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour this over some crushed ice. I'm going to use a cotton and reed.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no, I can do that in here. Yeah, because it's just kind of brown, right? I mean, brown. There's no real reason to stare at that all day. Now I get cubed ice. There we go.
Oh, really?
Crushed ice, filling the mug. Then we're going to pour this in. Would you rinse this off for me so I don't get Fernette Branca in this cocktail? Because there's enough stuff going on in this, you don't want to be adding Fernette Branca to it. Trust me on that. Want me to someone else should do it? No, whatever.
We watched Warrior Nun, season 1. It was really fun.
It was fun.
We're left going, oh!
Wait, so that good guy isn't, and that bad guy isn't, and wait, what? What just happened? Oh my god! All right, so we need cocktail orchid. Cocktail orchid will go in there. Just like that. Some spankable mint. All right.
Get ready to drink, bro.
Here's some mint. This one's actually looking pretty good. Bad. Aside from that leaf that came off. And this was picked a couple days ago?
Yeah.
A couple days ago from the garden. These, we've been bad about trimming our mint back, and so the stems are getting kind of woody.
So I did a massive cutback of the mint.
Yep. You can do all sorts of things. We've got like these little curly bits of leftover lime and lemon peel. You can do these hanging over the edge. Things like that. You get all sorts of fanciness here. Come on, it's a tiki drink, right? So, the more garnish, the better. Stick the pineapple frond in there. If you have to move garnish out of the way to get a straw in there, you're just about right. Just about right. So we need a straw, right? What straw you want? You like the bones. It's crushed ice.
That's right. I need a thick straw.
Yeah, so this is a tiny, tiny hole. For crushed ice drinks, you need something that's got a wider aperture. So we're going to go ahead and stick this in there. We'll do that. Wow, that just disappeared, didn't it? There we go. Pretty sure that's mine, but there you go.
One of our Surfside Sips mugs.
That is
all over the place. It is much better than the first one.
But it melds together.
It does meld
together. And there's a progression of flavors through this.
And you definitely get the smoke on the back end.
Yeah, and it takes you through this little trip. It's a very trippy cocktail. I mean, it's not for everybody, but and here, bam! Here's the smoke.
Yeah.
Wow. Which I think is just absolutely cool. For all of the cocktails where here's so the Sazerac here, this guy, the variation on the Sazerac. That's a nice variation on a Sazerac. But it is. It doesn't take you on a journey with the cocktail. You know what you're getting with the Sazerac. You got a couple of flavors that are melded together, and it finishes nicely, and it's fine, and it's tasty and all. And I'm quite willing to serve this guy. I quite like this one. Maybe cut back on the spice syrup just a tad, because it's a little on the sweet side. But okay, that's a little more complex than I thought it was. I'm happy with that drink. But this guy, this is like, hey, I'm going to take you on this flavor journey, and you're not going to know where you're going. And when we wind up, something's burning. So, you know, every drink accident you can walk away from it. No, that's not how that goes. Every bar you can walk away from. No, that's not how that phrase goes either. So there you have it. This is a riff on the last plane to Jakarta that we are going to call the last boat out of Railay. So there you go. It has that nice little tiki drink with tentacles spilling over the edge here, greenery in the background. I'm not sure if I can get these blue-purple orchids again for the tiki party, but I might even... no, they're not going to keep that long. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. So there you go. This is... round one of Pooch experimenting with things that might go on the menu for the Haunted Tiki party. If you have suggestions for things that you think would be mighty appropriate for the Haunted Tiki party, just let me know. You know where to find me, Lovecraft Cocktails on Facebook or Lovecraft Cocktails on Instagram, either one of those. So there you go. I'm thinking that we're going to call it quits for the evening because... one thing about these drinks, none of these is particularly light in the alcohol era. So unless Star really wants me to do something else...
I want something sweet.
She wants something sweet. Fine. Okay. So she wants something sweet. I have Orchid here. I have some lime juice here, and I haven't even touched lime juice. So what the heck? We should probably do something, right, for the Star. So some of you may have my button, right? Button right here. So this button says 1 sour, 2 sweet, 3 strong, and 4 weak. And this is a basic punch recipe. And we're going to follow basically that routine, and we're going to make something that Star's going to enjoy. All right, so we need 1 sour. 1 sour. I'm going to go with 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice because it's tiki and lime. So yeah, lime works with tiki. It is the single most used ingredient in tiki drinks is lime juice. Not sour mix, lime juice. Okay. So there's 3/4 of an ounce. I am also, because I particularly like the combination, I'm going to use 1/4 ounce of grapefruit juice to add to that. And this will just change up the complexity of the sour. Now, you could easily just make a punch using 1 sour and just use lime juice, 2 sweet and use 2 ounces of simple syrup or whatever. But one of the great things about tiki is you can just play with that basic recipe and split your sours or split your sweets or split both and get interesting combinations of things. So I know that she likes my orgeat. It's not a euphemism. She actually likes the homemade orgeat. So we are going to do a 1/2 ounce of that. We are only going to do a 1/2 ounce of the orgeat because if you remember from earlier on in this broadcast, my orgeat was able to go toe-to-toe with 140 proof absinthe. So this orgeat, this ain't weak stuff, flavor-wise. There's no real alcohol in it. There's a little bit in there, just a teensy tiny bit, but not really. But that is nowhere near 2 parts, right? So there's 1 part sour in here. We need 2 parts sweet. So what we're going to do is, as long as I got it here, let's go with the spiced demerara syrup, because I know she likes that. Right. So that goes in there. But that's still only 1 part. Right? So I need another part. Midori! No, we're not going to... No. Good, but no. I borrowed the Midori. I should not use the entire bottle of Midori. So there we go. We're just going to do a 2nd ounce of that. Right, so it's 1.5 ounces of spiced syrup. You could do like cinnamon syrup, or you could do a straight demerara syrup.
You could do pumpkin spice syrup if you're into that.
It's fall. You could, I suppose, if you really wanted to. Unfortunately, my jar of spice syrup gets sticky, so I do have to rinse off the hands before I try and do pretty much anything else. All right, 3 strong. Now, what is strong in our book? Strong in our book refers to the alcohol content. In this case, stars could be like, rum, I want rum, 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 rum. So, what did we use this evening? We used the Pussers 15, and we used the Dorleys. I could combine the two, but Pussers is already pretty much a blend, so I think the Dorleys would lose all of its subtleties there. So I'm going to reach for a simple rum. I'm going to reach for the Bacardi 8. So nice column still Puerto Rican rum. We're going to go an ounce of that. And that's just to give it some backbone, a little. I mean, it is 8 years, so there's some barrel aging there. She is a huge fan of spiced rums, especially when they are good spiced rums. And well, Foursquare makes a good spiced rum. So we're going to go an ounce of the Foursquare spiced rum. Now, I'm risking a bit here because there's already an ounce and a half of spiced syrup in this. So the spices on the Foursquare and the spices in the syrup may go to war with one another just a bit. Let's see. So both of those are, I mean, the Foursquare is a pretty clean rum aside from the spicing. The Bacardi 8 is a pretty straightforward, clean rum that gets most of its characteristics from its barrel aging. 8 years in the barrel. So we don't have anything that's got some funk to it. So this is going to be dealer's choice here, or in this case, patron's choice. I think we should go with something that's got a little more on the overproof to it.
The OFTD?
And we could do the OFTD. So I'll give you options.
Okay.
So the options are the Smith & Cross, Jamaican, maybe straight. The 151s, Lemon Heart or the Hamilton 151. What I was going to reach for, without giving you a choice, was the Ray and Nephew white rum. Or the OFTD, which is 69%. We could go with the Lost Spirits. We started with the Lost Spirits.
We started with the Lost Spirits. We can have them with the Lost Spirits.
Yeah, and then with the Lost Spirits. So the Lost Spirits is also somewhat overproof. It's 61% alcohol. So 122 proof. All right, so we've got 2 ounces of rum in here already. So we only want 1 ounce of this. This will be stiff. All right. Now, the 4-week. So 4-week usually refers to some sorts of fruit juices that are kind of neutralish. I mean, they're not too sour, they're not too sweet. But the primary dilution, the primary that you're going to get is dilution from the ice. And so we're going to lid this up with a bunch of ice, and we're going to shake it. But we do want some juice or sweetness. Not really sweetness, just what else can we put in here? Let's figure it out. How would you feel about topping this with some ginger beer?
The amount of ginger beer earlier was fine. So
okay, so if we do like a bunch of ice, get some big dilution off of this, add an ounce and a half of ginger beer to this, because I mean we got what 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean there's 6 ounces of liquid there. So
I can do an ounce of ginger beer.
All right, ounce and a half of ginger beer. All right, so that'll work. Because we're not putting in like an orange juice or something like that, that is sort of what I consider a neutral weak. Some people consider it citrusy and therefore part of the sour mix, but orange juice really is just, it doesn't have any sour component to it from my taste buds, so I don't consider it a sour. But just because of that, I want to get a lot of dilution, so I'm going to shake this with crushed ice instead of shaking it with cubed ice. And no, that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm almost out of cubed ice. Almost nothing. So we're going to do this. Fill this thing up. I see there's some cubes in here. Way up there. Right, I need to lid this up. How are people doing? Still having fun? Still watching the creative process as it works out? I could put the ginger beer in there. But a quick question, why am I not going to do that? Anyone? Bueller? Any ideas? I know my lovely wife has the answer. Anybody else? Any thoughts? I'll throw some bitters in here, but we're going to go weird on the bitters. We're going to go plum bitters. I'll get 2 dashes of plum bitters. She's a fiend, by the way, for Asian plums, and especially like Asian plum wine. She just loves the stuff. And, well, the plum bitters is kind of reminiscent of that flavor, so I think that'll work. So, do we have answers? Why I'm not going to put the ginger beer in there? Doesn't look like it.
Fizz!
Fizz! Yeah, or, in other words, boom! Yeah, if you put carbonated anything in the shaker and then shake it, you're going to blow the shaker apart and you are going to be drenched. And while that would make for entertainment galore, I would have to clean that up, and I'm just no, it's not happening. So we're going to try our best to not have that happen, which means not putting the ginger beer in. Oh, she's staring at the tiki mug rack. Now then, here is a very important factor to know when you are making something like this, which is just based off of a punch recipe, and you haven't done it, you've never tasted this before, the thing to do is to taste it before serving it to your patron, because you really don't want the patron going, oh, ick. That's not awful. I drink that. I'm going to add the ginger beer. Here we go. Some ginger beer. Put that in here. Give that a quick stir. That's all we got to do to incorporate the ginger beer. Just a quick little stir. And then I'm just going to dump this straight in. Fresh ice and all. See one of the great big old tiki mug.
Blueberry.
Blueberry, because it's about that time, right?
Yep.
So that guy goes in here. What are you doing? Get out here. You can't put that in here yet. She wants to put a straw in this.
I'm handing you the right straw.
Oh, she's handing me the right straw. You can't do that yet because we have to garnish. And, garnish. As long as we're garnishing, as long as there's people watching that want to play a silly little drinking game, I should just do this one sprig at a time. Make you drink like 4 or 5 times. Smack that around a little bit. Releases the oils. That's all it does, is it releases some of the oils. Makes it a little more fragrant. There's a massive greenery. About an orchid too. An orchid. Yeah. If I were really doing this, we'd be doing, here's my little tweezers, and I'm going to now place the orchid so carefully. Yeah, it's going to go right there. Well, making these at home, right? You ready? You want this?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. Here's your sweet tiki drink. Oh, by the way, I've got a little bit of pineapple here. We're just going to shove the pineapple in there too. There you go. Ta-da. See? 1 sour, 2 sweet, 3 strong, 4 weak, somewhere in there. Add a couple of dashes of some spice.
Do you remember the breakfast cereals?
I remember the breakfast cereals. I remember getting the breakfast cereals just a couple of years ago when they re-released them and going, wow, these are terrible. But yeah, so there you go. There's 4 drinks. So we did what did we do? The first one was the drink that we're not going to call the Green Lantern. And the second is a variation on the Sazerac that we are going to tie into Haunted French Quarter name or Ghost of Sazerac or something along those lines. The third drink was a riff off of, a really big riff off of The Last Plane to Jakarta, called The Last Boat from Riley. And the last thing we did was a simple punch. There's no name for it. It's just a punch. It just made up on the spot. Hey, what do I have on hand? Hey, I think this would all go well together. And judging from the smile on the woman's face, I think I did a decent job. So there you go. There is Quarantiki number 24, I think it is. 24. So peace out. And enjoy a week where the Miami Dolphins actually won a football game. Woohoo! Go Miami! Talk to you all later. I'm going to go drink now, because I can. Because I no longer have to have manual dexterity.